record to the computer. Perfect. Okay, everybody. Welcome to the, what day of the month is this? July 16th, 2025 meeting. We're calling this BOD meeting to order. Our officers in attendance are Athena. That's,
VP.
why am I doing this? It's the same people as last time. Just gonna copy and
Treasurer,
paste from the
not
previous one.
VP.
We have Jack as our only, oh, of course, and then immediately close that one. Jack, how do you spell your last name? No, I found it.
Kiernan, Kiernan.
Yeah, Jack, you're our
I
only
was
guest.
confused while you were asking about seventh grade for a second. Then I realized, oh, I finished a call.
Yep, no, that's perfectly fair. Okay, and Jack is our guest in attendance. No, perfect. So we have started the meeting recording. We will read the minutes of the last meeting, which we can see here on the left. So
Can't
on the
see
left,
anything.
oh, it would help if I share my screen. Thank you. There we go. Now we can see what we have here on the left. So on the left-hand side here are the meeting minutes from last meeting. We started off by reading the meeting minutes of the previous meeting. If you want to see those, go see last meeting. The Monarch provided attendance credits for us. Yay, Monarch. We'll get to that for this meeting in a second. The reminders from the meeting before the meeting was directors and officers insurance, getting the PM all linked to the week of the 16th. We'll talk about that. How many years we want to average for budgeting purposes and getting that into the handbook. The CEO CFO change proposal draft item to the HORA, having to deal with the secretary and the state of information and about how having to get that information updated and how frequently we have to do it. Contract updates with Ethereal, Hollow, Stonehearth, and Anduril. We have the paperwork, but we need to do the signature on our end. I'll talk about that in this meeting. California tax exempt status. At the time, it was completed and sent to the state pending determination. The answer is still the same. Item number 4 was the Westmarch Kingdom and Land Contract / Independence. So this was a question about independent bank accounts for the independent lands. And it was determined that lands are just parts of Westmarch. But maybe we should update our land contract and or get better legal wording at some point. But if we were to update the land contract, we would have to get every land to re-sign. So there wasn't a desire to do that immediately. The Darkshore gave a brief update. We'll go into more of the update this month. And then there was a walk-on item for the IRS, had yet to add us to the Master Biz File, Publication 78, which is our 501c3. I actually forgot to check before the meeting to see if they had done that yet. One quick second. They still have not updated since March, but we can talk about that as well. But this was causing some delays for companies that you can get benefits, programs cheaper or whatever for 501c3s. They look at the Master Biz File Publication 70 or Publication 78. Us not being on that has caused some issues. Yep, and then we scheduled this meetings. Those were the meeting minutes from last month. Does anybody have any questions?
Motion to proceed.
Okay, perfect.
Seconded.
Okay. Now, the first item of any good meeting, Monarch, you're providing attendance credits for this meeting.
Yes.
Perfect. Great. Does anybody else have anything else for item 1?
Your credits into the chat so I can get them added.
Yeah, throw them in the chat so they can be thrown in there. Okay, item number 2, reminders from last meeting. Most of these are just me telling myself to continue to do things that I just going to get to. So I failed to get the Alding in last month. Just got busy. So I did not get the directors and officers insurance on there. I have not updated the handbook yet. The CEO, CFO change. This is another Alding item that needs to get on there. Now, this one, contract updates for Ethereal, Hollow, Stonehearth, and Anduril. The lands have sent in the information. I have those pieces of paper. We, the BOD, need to do the signature signing on them. The big update is that Brian Ule, Milan, reached out and talked to Adobe, and they have agreed that they will support a 501c3 status. So I just need to go and get that set up, so that way we can actually use Adobe DocuSign, which would be nice. I don't know if there's going to be a price associated with that. I'll talk with the Monarchy if there is. Oh, correct. The game is here. The next item is our California tax exempt status. It hasn't changed since last month. It has been completed, and it is sent to the state, and it is pending determination.
And the state says they'll do it when they do it.
The state says they'll do it when they'll do it.
And state employees were rather pissed off until the first of this month, basically.
Wonder who those could be.
Well, no, just in general, because they issued a return to office 4 days a week nonsense, and it was a whole.
Yeah. So those are the reminders from last meeting. Most of them are to me to actually go do work. Any other questions about item number 2 before we move along? Okay. Moving on to item number 3. This was a item that Royce, you asked me to put on here. This is a fundraising idea from a member. You
Okay.
asked that we sit down and talk about this.
One of the people from my park went to Phantom Fireworks and said, "Hey, we're a nonprofit, and could we get the ability from you to do fireworks?" And they said, "Did you want us had a new shiny moment timeline for?" So basically, timeline for booths start in February when licensing is due and end in October or in August 31st when the deadline for fireworks sales tax is due. It's weird with sales tax for 501c3's fundraising. I'd have to go pull out the brochure and look at it. They sent me this nifty pros and cons they made and a presentation by Phantom Fireworks. I'm just going to screenshot the pros and cons. Actually, not. Here's the link to the Google Doc. You guys can read it at your leisure then and watch the thing. It was just something they came up with, basically.
I think this is very worthwhile to review in detail, if at all possible. This certainly wouldn't be for this year, but it's very valuable for next year. It just poses a lot of questions.
Yeah. It basically is going to be creating some work for us based off of somebody's idea, but it's worth exploring for those people in areas that do not burn down.
Yeah, I mean, it's, who runs the booth, what happens to product after you're done.
The fireworks companies take it back.
It's good.
Yeah, so I mean that's what I'm seeing the pros in here. They have some decent little things. Phantom will take care of the licensing, the insurance, and the location. They deduct operating expenses, and then the remaining profits get split.
Yeah. So it looks like they get half, we get half.
Yeah, I am curious what like the level of operating expenses. If it's like they're basically, say a $5,000 minimum operating fee or something like that, would we earn $5,000?
I don't know. I don't
What are
know
those?
any of that. Luxair just
I
messaged me.
can find out really quick.
Luxair just messaged me that most of this came out of that group presentation at the bottom.
Oh, awesome.
Could you full screen that? Thank you.
I don't know how real this invoice is.
Sure, it's just an
I
example.
I know I'm not BOD, but my girlfriend's family used to sell fireworks during 4th of July season, so I can ask them about things. But I know that for sometimes I think actually they had to, I believe, sleep with the materials. Like they had to camp out so to watch them. So I don't know what that would be, but just I can get some more information about what did it all entail.
It does require a seller's permit as well. We were already looking into seller's permits for like internal fundraising purposes. So I wonder if they would accept like, oh yeah, we sell merchandise yearly.
Yeah,
Is
you
this
don't
okay?
have to have if you have a permit already, you don't have to have a special permit for anything else you sell temporarily. Hashtag CDTFA employee.
Yeah,
Okay.
so this is the thing you were talking about here. Yeah, the overnight watch person.
Hmm. Yeah, that would be quite the staffing requirement for the booths. I think we could probably only manage across the entire kingdom with committed people, like 3 at maximum.
I think we'd see one in Sacramento.
Yeah, it'd be like one Sacramento area, one Bay Area, one Los Angeles at most.
Well, and you would have to do it the whole week, right? Like,
Hmm.
or
Yeah.
unless you're like only opening up Thursday and then
And
closing
also,
it.
there's a lot of counties that don't even allow the sale of them, not even the safe and sane ones. So
Yeah,
I
and
know
that's why
I know Contra Costa County is a no. So I know you can sell them in Alameda County, but you can't. They're very limited where they can be sold. And Contra Costa County is an absolute no. They don't even allow the safe and sane ones to be sold.
There are a few different brands that we can do these fireworks with, but if I had to speak personally, I do think that Phantom is probably better than TNT, even though we see TNT everywhere. I would wonder if their contracts are like easier to get to, given how incredibly prevalent they are. But as a brand, I just think that that one's better, but that's a personal opinion.
I'll start smoking in fireworks day, just them chain smoking.
Oh my God.
Yeah, there's some additional like there's a lot of little training things in here that it was like whoever we have to have to make sure that they understand some of these requirements that they would have to do.
It's interesting you can't have electricity in the stand.
Yeah.
Hmm. That means even a box fan is outside of that thing, which sucks.
No,
Unless
you
it's
can have a
Yeah.
battery operated.
no,
Oh,
but lighting only.
It says
Hey,
battery operated lighting is okay. I would argue they wouldn't complain
my
about.
spouse is fairly knowledgeable about this. Would you like to hear what they have to say?
Sure.
hey, Lelia.
Yes, yes, I am. All right, I only have so much cord, so you're gonna kind of get in close.
Hi, guys.
Hello.
So I do not have exact numbers because it's been a long flipping time since I've been involved with any of this. But the private Christian school that I grew up going to and worked at for like 11 years have a fireworks stand. They own the stand outright, so they don't have to pay, any sort of rental fee or anything like that. They only have to, acquire the stock, and then I believe they pay a little bit up front for that, and then they pay like a percentage of the profit. Um, they make at least $1,000 if I'm falling low. Just because they do have competition like directly across the street. Um, it's not anything huge to write home about, and I don't, like I said, I don't have the exact numbers. Um, but it does make them a nice little sum. For West March though, it would really depend, one, whether or not we're renting the booth, and two, where in the state we set it up. Like, for example, it would make more money here in Sacramento than it would in the Bay Area. Because in the Bay Area, all you really got to do is get to the waterfront and you could see like 4 different shows happening over the water. Speaking from experience there, thanks, Smith and Drill. You also stand to make a fair bit of money down in the southern half of the state because, not a lot of ordinances against fireworks down there because there's not a whole lot to burn down in the desert. I'm pretty sure like Mystic Mountains and them wouldn't unfortunately be able to
Butte
profit
North,
very much. Yeah,
Butte North do very little fireworks.
yeah.
It's illegal
And
in the county up there.
exactly, that was where I was getting to, is that it's not legal to set off fireworks up there. So it's not a bad idea in theory, and I believe you can get a like short-term permit for it because it's a fundraising thing. Fireworks are only available for like a month. I can definitely get more information from my mom on how it works because she still works there. And see, what their numbers look like if you're interested.
I mean, that could be helpful. We're in the information gathering phase, so any amount of information I feel is helpful. Um, I'm glad that this document was shared out because I've shared a copy and I've saved a copy. I mean, I'm gonna read through this. I think that we should probably add another ticket item to the next month's meeting after we've thought about it a little more, read, information gathered.
All right, well, I'm gonna hand it back to Lee now.
Wait, what credit do you want?
What credit do you want?
Assassin?
All right, I'm back.
Stuffing your feet, your tail underneath my heels.
Okay. So that additional information about it, yeah, it sounds like I'm gonna, ask either the person presenting it or others to provide additional information. As far as the board of directors, to me, it sounds like, yeah, we'd be willing to, help out with the paperwork side of stuff.
Sounds like a liaison job to reach out and see what it would cost from the fan of fireworks.
Difference between owning and renting the stand is probably one of the biggest points of contention.
And that becomes a storage problem.
My bigger one was, what is the minimum time we're allowed to open? Is it just on like, if we just chose, hey, we're going to do 3 weekends and not during the week?
You're only allowed to sell them during a 2-week period in California. It's
I thought
the
it was a
end of
1
June.
week period.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like
it's the end of June to the 6th of July. That is it.
It's
No,
like
no.
it's like the 26th of June to the 4th of July.
It said on the other one, at least for Phantom anyway, that it is the 28th through the 4th.
And that's state law. That is not the company. That is state law. They are literally only allowed to be sold by a nonprofit during those week and a half or so.
It is June 28th to July 6th.
Oh, the 6th. That's so weird.
And we can sell them in Stockton and Lodi and
Oh,
Tracy and Manteca.
Sacramento.
A lot of places in Sacramento. We could get the Central Coast involved if we wanted to do a Royal Grande, Grover Beach, or Oceano.
Going to be multiple stands.
Yeah, there's not a lot in the Bay Area that it can be sold in. There's like 3 cities in Alameda County.
Dublin.
Yeah, Dublin is one of them.
Sounds like Delu wants to run one in Dublin.
Fresno's allowed, so Clockwork Spires, if they wanted to get into it, they could.
I think this would be something where we would need to poll the public like multiple times. So it would be one of, polling this area, like these lands, this land, this land. Like it's gonna have to be separated out by area. But we could do just the kingdom at first of what do y'all think? Would you be interested in this kind of thing? Do you think this is a good idea? Would you volunteer for this?
Yeah.
And then as we get closer, maybe November, December of this year, it would be, okay, local lands, do you folks think that you would be interested in doing this? Because we have to have everything done and filed by February.
So a good way to get volunteer support is giving a portion of whatever the stand is run back to the land instead of to the kingdom.
Also,
That
credits for released.
Yeah, credits for being there. Having people set on board as volunteers. Do you think you can field 5 volunteers for this for an entire week?
I don't think we can realistically do profit sharing. I mean, we might be able to do like a flat where we'll pay you a set amount to be there, but even then, we don't typically pay people for anything.
No. The people are volunteering, but it goes back to their park. So, like, if the park, not all of it, just like, hey, you guys can, go buy yourself a pop-up or something, that kind of thing.
Yeah, my recommendation would be, because I was looking on their webpage a little bit more, and they have this interesting sentence in here, which is, groups to kind of consider for nonprofits. And they say, if you're a 501c3, and have sufficient members to man a stand over a 7 to 10 day period. I think that's going to be the hard part for us,
Yep.
is that
Oh yeah.
manning it. So my recommendation would be that they're actually all one. I would start with one, maybe two stands, and I would actually look to get a group to run this kind of like how we do events, right?
Mhm.
Get a crat to take this over, find people, fill in shifts, figure out what they can actually achieve.
That's a good
The thing
idea.
the thing I would look at you, Ginger, is just go, okay, does it actually have to be a 7 day minimum? Can we do a 3 day minimum? Does it have to be a 10 day? Like, what is our minimum
Yes.
obligation
Yeah,
to this?
I could reach out and say, hey, if we only wanted to sell them for 4 days, is that possible?
Yeah, those are the types of things I would be curious in here, because it might be a way easier for us to get enough because we need 24/7 volunteers basically, because we need somebody to babysit these overnight, unless we're hiring like a security guard or something. Um, so I think that would be the first big hurdle we have to do. Now, as far as giving money back to the lands, the easy way could just be whoever volunteers, when they sign in their land, and it's a percentage. We say half the money will go back to the lands based upon the lands who volunteer. So if somebody wants to drive from San Luis Obispo to Sacramento to sell fireworks, we'll give SSD 5% of the money or whatever that works out to for the number of volunteers,
Yeah,
and just divide it by the volunteer hours.
that's a good one.
Yeah. So that way you don't have to have like, because
Personally
there's like
not
4
be
parks
doing
within the Bay Area, right? And they're all trying to like compete with each other for volunteers that we're already limited on. So
Made a point system, we do something special for the lane that gives the most volunteers.
yep, something like that. But like obviously if we put it in Sacramento, there's gonna be like 5 parks that could support that. Right? I'm not expecting anybody from Sargata to drive up to support that.
I mean,
What about
I
Miss?
couch if people want.
What if Mystic Mountains are they going to drive down to support it?
I don't know.
You never know. They might. It's like an hour.
It's an hour.
It is not an hour.
More like
It's 3 if you go fast.
4 is more of an expected turnaround for that. I've driven to Reading and back many times.
What about I bet the Reno Park won't.
That is a Hail Mary, and if we do this, they need their own stand because Nevada has a completely different.
Yep, exactly. They're not gonna. They're gonna be like, "What?
We-
We could just go to the warehouse right down the street and buy them on a Tuesday."
We need to have the Nevada
Yeah.
park do a stand selling ammunition.
Okay, different conversation.
Oh my god!
So can we close item 3, I think?
Yes.
Yes, please.
I have never seen liaise as a verb. I mean, it makes sense, I guess, but huh.
Even worse is that I'm fairly certain I spelt that correctly.
I don't think liaison has 2 S's.
That's what Word just auto-corrected it for me, and I was very confused. Okay, I'll deal with that later. That's a different question. Okay. Liaison will liaise with the firework company. Moving on to item 4. Item 4, Dark Shore updates. This is you, Athena.
Woohoo! So we have them in the top of the chat here in more detail.
So my first question, can I open these?
You can open the Dark Shore data one, but do not open the waiver tab. That's all. Everything else is fine. It's just names.
Okay, I'm gonna pause sharing real fast.
Okay, just in case, that's fair. The post-event review form, of course, is completely fine. And I also sent over to Westmarch Gmail the blank version. So it's an updated blank version because the one that I was using um, had to be adjusted a fair bit. And then I did a separate tab of use instructions where I tried my best of just here's how you would do this with no context because I had to build the context myself.
Okay, and the sign-ins tab has mundane names. I'm gonna hide that real fast.
Is that considered protected info?
No.
Some people get
There's one person in West March that cares about their real name thing.
There's a few people.
Okay.
I suppose. I mean, most folks I know who are signing in that don't want to use their legal name will still give a mundane as whatever their preferred name is. I
Okay.
suppose I can't speak
I
for
know at least 2 people that refuse to sign in with their legal name.
Yes. Okay, I'm just gonna hide a few tabs not tabs, a few columns real fast just to.
Sure.
Oh, those are the VIPs. Okay.
A lot of the information that is in there is basically just the exact same as we've briefly talked about over the past meetings anyway, but it's just sort of, hey, final reporting. Woo!
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, I'm just trying. It took me a long time to edit the last video. It was kind of annoying to like block out all
Woo!
the data, so I'm like, I'll just do this correctly the first time. Okay, here we
That's
go.
fair, and I'm sorry about that.
It's all good. Okay. Which form do you want to start with?
The PDF is easier for me because it's so much shorter, in my opinion. Um, so with this one, I did not include some of the stewards that their work would not have been very much ahead of time and then ended up not showing. So if anyone has any questions about that for like 1 or 2 people not being in the stewards, that would be why. Um, and then yeah, as you can see, the where, the when, total attendance of 138. Um, I tried to like break down the full pass participants, just to add up all the VIPs, the prepays, the on-site purchases that we were aware of, but it breaks down a little better in the spreadsheet data. And then moving right on down to financial summary. Thankfully, we made a good amount. So pretty happy with that, nearly 4,000. As you can see here, the site, the venue was less than some previous years. So if I had to add a note that I don't know if I included in here, for the written below, would be that you don't necessarily have to rent the Dianza building for Thursday because you are not cooking in it. That's all. If you do intend to have anybody cook in there, though, then yes, you absolutely have to pay for the Dianza building. And
Yeah,
Are you
previously.
allowed early access to put stuff in the fridge? Like,
so that one is one of the working with the site has become more and more difficult type of things that used to just be implied automatic every time that yeah, absolutely. You guys have the rest of the campsite rented on Thursday. So sure, here's the keys to put things in there. But they're starting to crack down more about these things. So they did allow it this time after talking with folks, but originally the Rangers were like, "What? No, we didn't know. So we didn't have it ready for you." So I don't know. It's one of those things where it would be worth confirming ahead of time verbally. And as long as you have it in writing anywhere about that, then it should be fine to not pay for the Dianza building on Thursday. But the variability of working with King City continues.
Yeah, and in the past, we had been told that the Dianza building includes the benches outside of that. And so if we don't rent it, we're not guaranteed to have that whole courtyard. Somebody, like if a birthday party got there before us, we don't have it reserved.
I mean,
Now it's
not,
never been an issue, but that's what we were told.
yeah, and I mean, honestly, if that did happen, I don't see it as the end of the world. It just sort of happens where people find it convenient to hang out, but you can go hang out around the campsites. It's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Everything for the documentation I have included in the spreadsheet itself separately. And then if you choose to read about the goals met, I hoped that we were going to get above 150, didn't quite get there. Had some great feedback, especially about the food, quests, cultural events. But yeah, if y'all weren't aware, we did not get the contract to be fully paid and signed until the day before we got there. So that was really difficult, but it thankfully worked out in the end. That's it. Um, and then,
You are not the first nor probably the last Krat who has ever said that about King City. Feast
I
of
believe
Feast of
it.
Gods, you know how you have to have that like meeting with the King City and talk about what you're doing. Feast of Gods, they scheduled it the second day of the event was when they had that meeting.
Oh my goodness, that's
Yes.
wild.
To show
And
you the
the a few years before that, it was held like they finally approved us, I think 4 days before the event, and we had to overnight a check to them. So
to,
this has been a continuing issue.
to
Yeah.
show
God,
an
I'm
issue
glad I'm
between
not using King
sites.
City.
Yeah, to show a difference between sites, we had a brief phone call with the Fog site for this year about what we're doing. And then Thistledown went out there with arrows and they were like, you can't do archery. And Thistledown was like, these are arrows. They're like, never mind, you can do archery.
Um, my only concern about the San Benito site is I was like, at some points the photos of the place make the lawn look like a giant dirt patch, but from what I've heard, it's improved. I guess they're doing better lawn care now. So as long as the fighting field is good, like woo, everything else looks great.
I will be honest on that. The pictures we got from this and down about the battlefield kind of remind me of a backyard where it's a bit of grass and a lot of dust.
Hmm. Okay. Well, we'll see.
We're
Um,
gonna miss the feed.
the what?
We're gonna spray the fighting feed.
The
So it's
fighting.
moist, so it
Oh.
doesn't kick
Oh,
out
oh,
dust.
so it's not so dusty. Okay. I did not quite hear or utterly process what you said. Okay.
Every new event site is a learning experience. They all have their quirks. We will figure them out. We are very
Absolutely.
familiar with the King City ones and the things we don't like.
hmm
So,
There's lots of stuff I like about it, but I mean, if we find that this is so much better, I'm not going to argue. That sounds great. But yeah, I guess the recommendation for future stuff is like I should have gotten these favors done sooner. That's a me thing, truly. But I think the thing that was most helpful, which people probably already do, is just the I need you to explain it to me like I have no context at all. That every crat has a fully detailed outline that coming in with no information, you're going to completely understand everything they plan to do. And that was the most helpful part for me. That's all.
yeah, it's all good.
The rest
Okay.
ain't me.
So yeah, well, the signature I is you, and I guess who's the
Oh.
board rep? I guess I'm the board representative on this one, or is this a liaison thing? Secretary? Oh wait.
Doesn't
Oh,
matter. Doesn't matter which one of the board signs it, just the board has to sign it because it's not with us with an outside agency or anything.
Is it enough?
I think the what I am looking at here is that
Are we gonna do DocuSign for that?
probably once I get that set up or somebody
Okay.
gets that set up appropriate. Okay, so before we move on to the next spreadsheet, let's talk to the rest of our board here real fast. Board, do you like what you've seen? Do you have any questions, comments, concerns?
Yeah,
Blew their socks off. Amazing.
yeah, it was great.
Yeah,
Good job.
thanks.
Woo.
Stunned to silence. Okay. So if you wanted to go through this Excel spreadsheet, if there's any specific parts you wanted to look at, or
No, I mean, really, the only things that I found, um, I would want to talk about is more so even the blank version of this rather than the completed one. I definitely had some difficulties making things line up, but I feel like that's the struggle of everybody who ever works with spreadsheets, and I am not good with spreadsheets in the first place. But sign-in is fairly self-explanatory. We did have new, like both gate crats were brand new; they've never done it before. and I was babysitting with them for the first half of like Thursday. But something I did not notice was that they were not notating for cash purchases if it was day or full weekend. So cash is just all one lump sum. Unknown. I did go backwards and do a fair lot of work in order to figure out some of them being yes or no, but I could because I couldn't confirm all of it for everybody who's day or weekend with cash. I was just like, whatever. If I can't get it all consistent, then I'm not going to bother.
One thing about this event, and I know from Thunder Hill when we did it, there was no recorded how many days somebody was there. So everybody got a blanket 4 credits.
Mm-hmm.
That was my executive decision.
Sweet.
Everybody got a blanket 4 credits for it.
So
Yeah.
we got like no bonus credits. Dang you, stingy monarch.
Yeah, no bonus credits. And we'll talk about that after the meeting if you want.
For those who did like online purchases for just day, thankfully that was straightforward. But it seems that most of the time, past a certain like line of sign-ins, I'm like, all of the cash from here is likely just a day purchase. But again, I didn't know. So I'm gonna own up on that where I did not explain it as sufficient detail for them to understand this piece. So that part of the information is missing. But yeah, I mean, if we look over, if you want to flip through to like financials and receipts, and then we don't have to look at the rest because they do reference names.
I think I've hidden those columns. If you wanted to look at
This,
stuff.
yeah, I mean, this is just more of the further breakdown for the numbers that I documented over onto the PDF. So for those of curiosity, how many tickets of each type sold, and then on the right. This is something that was kind of remaining from Alana's work, and I was like, well, I guess if I had to determine the purpose of what the heck is on the right, it's what did we get money in advance from, and what did we get money from the day of, most likely. So kind of breaking up when it comes in. That would be why I included that, because otherwise it can kind of seem redundant. But otherwise, it's fairly self-explanatory, and this is a lot of formulas that Theos and Sebastian were so kind to guide me on, so I knew what the heck I was doing in order to get certain things to pull from other tabs. Then we can just scooch over to receipts.
Just quickly checking it. Yeah, okay.
This has the photos embedded of all of the receipts included. And then I do have a refund documented in here where I had to estimate how much I would need to get, and I didn't end up using all of it, which has since been paid back to West March for the overpayment.
Okay, so
And
this was you refunding the kingdom for your refund that was over refunded.
yes, so I well, yeah, I got like one it's like 800 in total, and then I didn't use the entire amount, so that was therefore I was like, okay, I need to send this back. This is not me. No.
Can confirm we received that.
hmm
Okay.
And then the rest includes people's names, but this is for reference information of basically just who bought what about meal plans, prepays, and VIPs. If you wanted to move over to pick lists, that one's perfectly safe to look at, but it's not very interesting. It's just a function to show how many people signed in from every park and from all of the classes.
No, pick list is very interesting when you look at how Thor's Refuge outshone everybody.
It's true.
Yeah,
It's like
Wyvern's
double.
first slacked off here. Come on, Dagger. You got to get your park up and going.
Yeah, it's not my park anymore.
It was at the
Sure.
time.
Throw
Um,
your credit in, Dagger.
with use instructions, I don't know if y'all had any for like maybe post meeting, if you wanted to be like, I don't understand this. Oh, I didn't format right. There's a lot of text with those. Yeah, thank you.
I just have a
Why
question
is
as to
some
why
of it
there are dead
hyperlinked?
parks.
Oh, for the dead parks in the pick lists, that would be because the range was something that was already inputted that I could edit to like add I updated one thing, but I did not, quite frankly, feel the need to go through and remove all of the other ones. I'm not personally familiar with what all is a dead park, so in the future, when someone uses this again, if it's truly like the park no longer exists, okay. But if it still exists and then we get the surprise one person signing in as that, having the option there is more helpful. That was
We
my only.
do periodically get people signing in from dead parks. Like they only do events and they've
Mhm.
just never updated their park location. For example, we had 4 people sign in for Maria Saltus.
Mhm.
So
I figured having more parks than necessary was more helpful than having less than necessary,
yeah.
especially for the blank version. But yeah, I think that's all we need.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me just pause again, close this. Okay, so I have added the relevant Capora section. Figured we might as well review this just to make sure we're not missing anything. So here's the section about event funding. I've highlighted some of the relevant parts from the Capora. It comes down to at the discretion of the bid team, up to $400 of the net profit above the cost of the event may be retained into the event account to improve future events. Athena, as the event team, would you like to retain $400 to add to the West March Dark Shore account?
I mean, the events seem to just be getting bigger and bigger every time. So absolutely, we had plenty of profits. Go for it.
Perfect. If you would like to retain additional, you can add something to the all-in. Meanwhile, the rest of that profit gets to go into the West March general coffers. So good job, West March. You've raised some money.
So the original bid amount was like $5,500. This was the estimate, which we pretty much hit straight on. So 5,900 goes back into the Dark Shore like account, and then the rest is
So it's based upon the
no.
profits, right? So
Oh
it's
yeah,
whatever
okay.
profit is left over after,
Uh-huh.
everybody's been refunded. Any profit, $400 you get put into the Dark Shore account,
Yeah, duh.
and then the remainder of that stays in the West March general account, unless somebody wants to put it in an Alding to transfer more of that or buy a trailer. I
Mhm.
no.
Damn, that's like 3 grand into the West March General.
Yep. It is our primary methodology of making money.
Fair enough. Cool. But no, I wouldn't put forward an all thing personally.
Okay. The autocrat shall submit the completed West March post-event review form to the Kingdom Prime Minister and the BOD. They have done so. This was the first meeting after the 45-day timer, so we're counting that for correct. Thank you very much. I'm assuming Prime Minister you've received this because it is in the email. So, no. Okay. The other section is
Correct.
7.8, which talks about the War of the Dark Shore. Maintenance of the Dark Shore Castle must be performed by the autocrat prior to returning the equipment to Westmarch. They have 45 days. They must perform a safety inspection on the castle no later than 1 week prior to the event. I believe that this was kind of handled by Royce and Delu last week. Is that kind of correct?
For a post inspection?
Yeah, I did nothing with the trailer last week.
I went to the trailer. I did not. I saw the castle, but did not do any inspection onto its wellness. I was just
So,
gonna.
I didn't mean to cut you off, sorry.
I was gonna say, did Vorik inspect it before it went back in?
So the full everything that happened with Castle is that it was not a week, but it was like 3 days prior. Sorry, the weekend prior to the event, we did have, I forget the name of who, I'm sorry, but 2 people went down to the trailer to inspect the castle. They confirmed, okay, yeah, looks good. We should be able to move this, and then made the arrangements for it to be towed. Then on site, really the only inspection was, okay, can we put it together? We can all put it back in just fine. That's good. And additional equipment to be able to better put this together was donated to Westmarch by way of putting it in the trailer. So now there is a castle drill. Woo!
I'm going to assume our regent added that to our spreadsheet.
I believe I did. But also you didn't share the spreadsheet with me, so I had to make a copy of.
Correct, because I don't want random people updating it and keeping it in my personal Google Drive.
Yep, same thing. So I made a copy and I updated. I don't believe I had a drill, but I will add drill.
Yeah, you added a drill and a badminton net.
Oh, did I? All right,
You should have, yeah.
did.
We
Well,
talked about it.
I did the badminton then.
Well,
Cool.
double check your list.
Yep.
Okay. I will
That
leave it
is,
to the regent as the owner of the castle when it is not being used to determine whether or not maintenance needs to be performed.
oh, by the way, I'm sorry, before we forget, Ector of the Sands was the one who donated the drill. I'm gonna make a note for myself to put them in for a rose or something.
Yes, and you should for everybody on your crat team or anybody who is an assistant, I recommend writing it up and kicking it over to Royce in whatever format Royce finds most agreeable, to get your people their, relevant awards for helping out. I when I was Monarch in those offices, it was very helpful when the autocrat sent that list because we only have so many eyes, whereas the people who helped you out.
I truly
So
forget if I
helpful.
have sent that, actually. I, yeah, I don't, I'm genuinely like, okay, I remember gathering a whole bunch of this. Did we send over this list? Because if not, then I can probably get a fair amount of it. I asked people to document it at least in the Discord so I can put it all together.
I remember there was documentation in the Discord, but I don't recall getting this.
Okay, I can do that. I'm sorry about that.
You're fine. I was more happy that you were working on the post-event review, and it was not going to take 5 minutes.
I mean, I was still technically late, but shh.
Okay. For me, that concluded everything that I had for the Dark Shore update. Thank you very much, Athena. Does anybody else have anything they would like to talk about the Dark Shore update? Sounds amazing. We have been wowed to silence. Okay. Shall we move on to item number 5?
Move on.
Moving on to item number 5. Now, unfortunately, some of you may notice that there is a member missing amongst us. So at this point, I believe we have to follow Corpora section 10.1.9, which is any member who misses of the board who misses 3 meetings in a row shall be removed. Special situations may be given consideration by the board. We are currently missing our secretary, Bear, who unfortunately has now missed 4 meetings. This is their 4th. I reached out to them. I tried to contact them twice over the past month, both the week after the last board directors meeting and earlier this week. I have not heard or been able to contact Bear. I've reached out to other members of Bear's, households and fighting companies, and they have not been able to contact Bear either. So at this point, I don't believe that there's any special situation information that I have that would allow us to, waive 10.1.9.
The only info I have, he's technically local to my park right now, but he's also not around and has been not around. And what I hear from his life is that he is basically just traveling a ton. He is largely out of town and on digs like all the time right now. And however, they have not chosen to share update people about that. So I know of some of the circumstances, but they have not made their argument. I don't know if that is sufficient.
I know that they just got back from Pennsylvania like the other day.
Hmm.
Yeah. Now, this has also been an ongoing issue now this is our 4th meeting, so 4th month in a row.
Yeah.
Out of the 7 months that we have been aboard. So, do we believe as a board that there's enough to warrant a special consideration here?
Do not believe there's a special consideration needed. I believe we need to move along for the Corpora.
Okay. Does anybody have any counter to that in any way? I don't want to silence any voices. Okay. So at this point, I believe we have to follow 10.1.7. This section is worded a little oddly. So it says, should the membership of the board of directors fall below 5, the alternate will become a full member and an election shall be held to fill the vacant seats until January. This gets a little wonky in how the Corpora writes members of the board. It originally says that there are 5 elected members, plus the monarch and the prime minister to make a total of 7. But then later it's using this math of 5, I believe is just the 5 members, not including the monarch and prime minister. I believe is its intention. It is poorly worded. It is an item I recommend that we correct via Alding. But at this point, I believe we are below 5 members. We have a president, we have a vice president, we have a liaison, we have a treasurer. That is 4 members. So we are down below 5 members at this point. We need a secretary. Plus, we need a secretary by the state of California. So we need to have an election, is what this comes down to. In probably August. This gets a little bit interesting. We'll have to work with the Prime Minister on this. They're the ones who typically run the elections section.
I have to have all thing items out on Friday. I can then at that time open declarations, run them for like a week. And then to have it on the August one.
Yeah. I was trying to quickly find. Yeah, an election shall be held by the Prime Minister every January to elect the members of the Board of Directors. Only voting members may hold a seat. Voting membership must be maintained in order to remain on the board. That's a little weird. Candidates must announce their candidacy publicly and in writing to the Prime Minister at least 1 week prior to the election. Now, this is part of the January section of elections. The only other section is our general election section, which doesn't fully apply to the board. All right, you gotta go scroll up to it. Elections. Is this counted as a pro tem election? It doesn't say in the Kapora.
I think it would be.
Pro
Sounds
tem
like
isn't
it
a
would be pro
thing
tem.
you can have on a board member. They're either a board member or they're not, but
Yeah. It doesn't
So-
affect their title, it just would affect the type of election, I guess. Ugh.
So
Yeah,
if we do announce the opportunity opening on Friday, the 18th, run it to the 25th, the all thing would then be the weekend of the 1st, which is the next weekend.
yeah, it sounds like you have to allow at least 1 week for declarations. You have to have it a week before. So they get to declare, there's a week to generate the ballot, I guess, and then we have the vote. It doesn't say anything as far as I can tell at this time that it has to happen like a certain day of the month or anything like that. So we could have it the second week or third week of August if that's how the math works out.
Like I said,
Yeah.
that worked out just fine. Where in at Friday, I have to have things out if we're doing anything for August anyway. Which is open declarations, then close them on the 25th, which is next Friday, 1 week period for the all thing on the first weekend of August.
So you would want to combine the board election with the Alding?
Yeah, right now I have gotten one potential thing, and I've asked them to submit their proposal formally, but I haven't gotten anything back yet.
So what you're saying is I need to send you about 5 Alding items. Okay.
Sure, send it,
Yes. Things relating to this right here.
do it.
Okay.
And so it's recorded for anybody who watches this. Board of Directors is a very good starting point for any careers in West March's elected positions. It's probably the least stressful of them.
I wonder
For
who actually
clarity,
watches
you cut
these.
out it's stressful.
Raven sometimes does, but there's like 4 people who watch them if you look at
Okay.
our YouTube stats. Um, what am I doing? I can just copy this from the Kapora. Scrolling. I think this is the only relevant section of the Kapora. And even then, it's tenuous at best that it's even relevant because that's for the January election. Okay. Sounds good at this time. And we will invite our new BOD member next time. It'll be great. Anything else to talk about for item number 5?
Motion to proceed.
Seconded.
Sounds good. Are there any walk-on items?
Kinda.
I have fun.
Okay.
Mine's pretty quick. So Zano from Sergata is working with XCOM to get high quality production value videos to like advertise AmpGuard, West March AmpGuard and AmpGuard as a whole out to YouTube. once they come out, he would like as many people as possible in the first couple days to view them, so they hopefully hit YouTube's algorithm and get pushed out.
Nice.
They're very nice quality too. That's the whole thing.
If we want to send a message out to Circle of Monarchs, like, hey, tell your parks, go check this thing out, it really helps, then that's probably the best way to get as many people as possible to do that.
The monarch and the prime minister also have the ability to post announcement messages to our Discord and to our Facebook. I would recommend those as well.
I just don't know if everybody checks these as thoroughly as they could, but I get
They
you.
they don't, but yeah, we can try and utilize the Circle of Monarchs as well, and have everybody post to their individual Discords.
We're 3 days out from the end of the PM declaration for Kingdom and nobody has declared.
No, oh, when does that declaration for PM close?
So wait, can I?
Saturday.
Yeah, on the 19th, right? Can we go back to the YouTube channel thing?
Sure.
Are we looking for solicitations for people with high quality video? Because we got a couple people in Kingdom that have GoPros.
Zeno reached out to me about this and getting it to ACOM to talk about because like he wants to do it Antguard wide to push for a large influx of people just across Antguard.
Okay. Talk to Zariel and Boogie about what they do with their footage because they both have channels and
More
I'm
specifically,
sure... What?
talk to Azus because they have set up a Google Drive. They have a hosting server where they host their raw footage before it's edited for all of those people working together.
No, it's good to know.
My walk-on item was a follow-up about the seller's permit thing.
Oh.
So we had briefly referenced, oh, should we do this? I think that's a good idea, but I don't think we have any kind of like plan for, hey, somebody's in charge of like investigating doing this, and or afterwards signing up, which would cover the temporary seller's permit necessary to run a fireworks stand. And I'm not just trying to foist work onto someone else. I'm happy to volunteer to research into it at least. But I guess I would probably still end up asking questions to those with more tax expertise than I, because a lot of what I find is about like individual sellers permits. Um, but I did find a very lengthy bit of information that might help. But anyway, should we proceed with this? Do we want to pursue this?
I just haven't got around to setting up the seller's permit. It'll take me like 10 minutes to do it from
Oh.
But yeah, I was going to say,
Kingdom.
from my understanding, we assigned this to Royce.
Okay.
But my Antguard light exploded.
Yes.
Yeah. It's
Because this is
liable to
part of
keep exploding.
This is part of the setting up the Zazzle and utilizing those other things so we can sell stuff.
We don't have to report Zazzle to sales and lease tax because they're a
that is fair.
marketplace facility.
Going back to the KPM thing, what happens if nobody steps up for?
If nobody steps up, we go into a pro tem declaration period, and then people can pro tem declare.
So personally, I have stated to the monarchy that if nobody has declared by Friday at 6 p.m., I will redeclare.
Gotcha.
I think that's actually in the elections section. And
yes, if no one
wait, the GMR runs this election. Why are you doing anything?
They're just declaring if nobody announces. It's just in our monarchy chat. It is in the elections section, Sebastian. You are correct. If nobody does it, it goes to a pro tem.
Specifically, this line here.
It's
if no
interesting.
one is qualified to run for office, an Alding shall be held, which is really interesting because an Alding has to happen the first week of the month, unless you allow like an emergency Alding, which has just another set of rules about it. It's actually harder to run pro tem than it is to run as a normal election because there's additional requirements for an Alding.
I feel like this might be kind of a confusing as a bygone from when quals was a thing.
Oh, there's a bunch
Because
of other problems like this, yes.
it's like, I mean, okay, you have to be you have to be like corpora passed, I believe, and then have dues paid and attended a certain amount, and like that's it. So not qualified would be, oh, well, I don't have to meet all those things. Is that really the only difference?
Other than the section called Crown Qualifications that still exists in Acapora.
Yeah, okay.
And so what it's referencing is this section here, really, which is qualification requirements, which is very similar, and we just corrected a few errors with. Um, and so, yeah. But yes,
Is
the wording is still treats quals as an event that occurs, which is a little bit wonky, but grammar aside, it's referencing this section.
But no, but I mean, truly, I'm asking what the difference would be of a regular I'm qualified versus pro tem, because even per that section,
Mhm.
it's the same thing.
Yep.
I
So they have to have
believe
passed a Riva and Kapora test. They have to be a voting eligible member of their land, which means they have to be over 18, have a waiver signed,
Hmm.
be dues paid. The only difference is that technically down here, anyone wishing to run for the position, provided they subsequently take a Riva and Kapora test. So they haven't taken one yet.
Oh, okay. Dang.
I think that pro tem does technically squeak by the age requirement. I think that's the
Uh,
one thing that can slip by.
It says a voting eligible. Oh, you're right. It does change the age requirement slightly because the voting eligible doesn't have the 18 years of old age. It has the 14 years of old age. So technically, a 17-year-old could run.
That'd be a great way to ruin a high schooler's life.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if we as a kingdom elect a high schooler or younger to do the PM position, shame on us.
Yeah, that's really more on, the other
Yeah.
400 adults in the kingdom.
That's not a good option at all.
No, for everyone.
For anyone, yeah.
Well, I think that's it then.
Yeah. Okay, so we're saying people, if you want to declare, turns out you're the only one running right now, so it would just be a confidence vote. Those are easier than a plurality vote, possibly, depending on how many people run. So get in and vote, or get in and sign up and or vote. Perfect, sounds great. Any other walk-on items? Nope. Okay, great. Let's talk schedule for next month. Okay. I'm gonna turn off my video because I have to go into the other room real fast to grab my work calendar. Okay, so next month is August. Does anybody have a particular date they are interested in?
I'm open any day of the month.
I prefer Thursdays over Wednesdays if possible.
I'm the exact opposite. I prefer Wednesdays over Thursdays. Thursdays are
Okay.
actually the worst day, but that's okay. I'll make it work. I can call in from the car.
No,
Okay, so
August
swords
9th
at
in
dawn?
person.
Dagger, there's a reason
I
you're not
don't
on
like
the BOD.
that.
You don't get a
Yeah,
choice on this.
I don't like that one. I say no.
Okay, do we want to look at, we can go the week of like 13, 14, 20, 21. Is there anything?
I think mid-month has been a good pattern. Let's just stick with like the 14th. I mean, I
Okay.
guess to be fair, the only thing I'm missing out on where I'm like, oh, I'd prefer not Wednesdays is a game night. Like it seems as though like that's certainly much more inconvenient to you, Dash. So I'm like, okay, well,
I just work late on Thursdays, that's all, and I don't get home until 7:15. So it really cramps my evening. I don't get dinner. I don't, I have to log on instantly.
no, yeah, okay, then no, I'd feel terrible to propose that.
Yeah. But
Uh,
I can do Tuesdays. I can do,
Ginger used guilt trip. It worked.
we could
It was
do
highly effective.
It's not a guilt trip. I'm
Perfect.
sorry. I'll show up whenever you guys pick.
Does anybody
except
want
for
to?
except
Why
for
not
a
Tuesday? We
weekend.
can mix it up.
I can't do the 13th.
Okay.
uh
So
Tuesdays are tough for me just because I have fighter practice, but I can do that in the car. Could we do the 20th?
Yeah, 20th works fine. The 13th is literally the only day this month I know, or that month I know I can't. Because I have to go to a meeting in Sacramento. It requires me to be there in person, which means I leave there at 5 o'clock and it's like 80-20 whether or not there's traffic, and I'm gonna not get home till 7.
You could pop in at my house.
I could also connect through Discord into my car, or through Zoom into my car, but I don't want to because you guys don't need to hear me swearing at people for the way they drive. And it would still take me 40 minutes to get to your house from the office with that traffic.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm
Okay.
good with the 20th.
Okay, 6:30 still work for everybody?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Perfect. Sounds great. 6:30 on August 20th. Going, gone.
Woo.
And I'm not going to stop the recording. Hopefully I did this properly.
No.
First stop sharing.